adversary, Mary May stands little chance. But the unexpected intervention of William Boyd will change her journey, as well as his. Okay, so that's the intro out of the way. Now, you may remember Mary May is the bartender in the game Far Cry 5. So I'm going to open the book itself here, and we're gonna be reading this book chapter by chapter. So the book is by the author Urban White, and before we get into the actual chapters, we have a prologue. So we will begin this video reading the prologue, and then in the next video we will start on chapter 1 and so on. I am looking forward to this. I hope you are too. Okay, so we will begin with the prologue. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. The sheriff came in and sat in his chair. He took off his hat, put up his feet, and looked across the desk at her. "What's this all about?" he said. "You know what this is about," Mary May said. "I just want to know what you're going to do about it." The sheriff fingered the band off his hat, picked something off the brim and flicked it away. He had been a bull rider at one point, and Mary May remembered him from when she had been a girl. Daddy and Mama had brought her and her brother Drew to see this man ride. The man had been skinny then, and young. She had stood at the edge of the railing and watched him come out of the gates. They had hollered at him to stay on as he rode into the centre with the dirt kicking up under the bull, and the man bouncing atop, barely holding on. He had seemed fearless in that moment. He had seemed like some sort of hero, but he did not seem like that now. He tossed the hat she turned. He took a few steps and came around a desk. We've got preppers. We've got doomsday freaks. We've got whole families of folks living in shacks up the hills. No power, no water. Grandma and the great-grandkids sleeping free to a bunk while Mummy and Daddy make more. We've got gun nuts. We've got bunkers and compounds. We've got free thinkers, anarchists, nihilists, Democrats, and God knows what else. But I'm telling you, what I saw up there at Eden's Gate, the conviction they have, the goddamn power they gave to the words of the Father, it was infectious. It got damn near under my skin. And they're believers, you know, every one of them. And that's not to say a bad thing about them, or to question their faith. But I tell you, it scared me more than anything I have yet seen in this life. And there's not a thing I can do about that, because you know that it's perfectly legal. You practice that, Mary May asked. I tell it to myself every night before bed. She turned to the door and opened it. He's my brother. He's all I have left, she said, and walked out. Mary May was halfway up the mountain when she saw the white church truck appear in her rear view. It followed her for another 5 miles. She raised her eyes on it at every turn of the road, watching the far trees and the bend of the assault where the road disappeared. But the truck never wavered, always appearing again from out of the curve and following along as if the two, her red Ford pickup and the white church pickup, had been tethered together with rope, one dragging the other right behind. She went another mile before she pulled over on the side of the road and turned off the engine. that's just